It's the last day of the working week, and I welcome you to the late edition of the news, which is coming to you live from our studios here at Labone. This bulletin is also available to you on DSTV channel 277. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, NPP flag bearer Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo finally breaks silence and calls for immediate ceasefire between factions within his party. Former Nigerian military ruler Muhammadu Buhari formally sworn in as the country's president. Member of Parliament for Fenso North calls on public and hospitality institutions to create designated smoking places to aid the smooth implementation of the ban on public smoking. And local content bill enables some artisans to acquire needed experience to partake in the building of the TEN project. On the international front, suicide bomber blows himself up in a parking lot of a Shah mosque, killing 4 people in Saudi Arabia. Details coming your way shortly. Stay with me. Hello once again, I am Michael Oti. The news now in detail. The flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has finally broken his silence and called for an immediate ceasefire between factions within his party. He has also directed that the embattled National Chairman Paul Afoko and General Secretary Kwabena Agyapong be granted access to their offices.
Nana Akufo-Addo was brave and his message was direct. He acknowledged the pain loyalists of the party are enduring after the loss of the Upper East regional chairman of the party, but said that cannot be a guarantee for the attacks and counter-attacks on personalities within the party. He called for an immediate ceasefire and urged feuding factions to build bridges to make the party a formidable force to wrestle power from the governing NDC.
My first call on all party members and supporters is to cease fire. The finger pointing, the name calling, the insults, the lie, the denigrating of past and current leaders must stop. They are to be roundly condemned. There is absolutely nothing to be gained from internal recriminations within the NPP except to provide fertile soil for our opponent. A certain amount of outburst induced by the tragedy is understandable because of the extreme nature of the tragedy. But that should not mean that MPP members should behave out of character.
Nana Addo was flanked by national executives of the party, except General Secretary Kwabena Agyapong and Paul Afoko, the national chairman, who have been locked out since the death of Adams Mahama, who died from acid attack. Nana Addo directed that the two be offered full access to their offices.
I ask that we normalize things within our party. This means, for instance, that the officers of the party, the national chairman and the general secretary in particular, must have access to their offices at party headquarters and not be hindered in any way from being able to conduct their duty. The NPP way of doing things is to be guided by law and order. And I ask that normals return to our headquarters and party offices. I ask that we extend mutual respect to each other and we listen to each other. I will not tolerate chaos within our party.
He also called for thorough investigations into the death of Adams Mahama and assured the party the concerns raised will be discussed by both the National Executive Committee and the Council of Elders for advice.
The party structures should take over and deal with the issues that have been raised. Meetings of the National Executive Committee, the body charged with responsibility for directing the affairs of the party, and then the National Council, the highest decision-making body of the party, except for the National Annual Delegates Conference, should be convened after the Adua prayers to resolve the issues that we face. None of us should forget the desperate state into which our nation has been plunged. And none of us should forget that the people of Ghana look to us to rescue our nation. We dare not jeopardize this sacred trust by fruitless internal strife.
NPP, according to him, is still mourning the death of Adams Mahama in accordance with the Muslim tradition. He therefore appealed to all party faithful to exercise restraint and pray for guidance to make the party stronger to beat the NDC come 2016.
So it's been 2 months since General Buhari defeated former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, in a crucial election. Today, the ex-military man was sworn in as the new president of Africa's most populous nation.
Buhari's victory makes him the first Nigerian to oust a sitting president through the ballot box. Dressed in traditional Muslim attire, Buhari stood on the stage clutching a Quran in his right hand as he pledged to uphold the constitution and laws of Nigeria. The 72-year-old takes over as head of Africa's most populous nation, top economy and leading oil producer as it limps back to normality after fuel shortages that brought the country to a near standstill. A scandal-wearing ascetic from Nigeria's predominantly Muslim north, Buhari has already pledged to get tough on the corruption that pervades every aspect of life in the country. About 30 countries sent high-level representatives to grace the ceremony, many from the rest of the African continent, who stand to gain if he is able to breathe new life into the economy and restore Abuja's diplomatic credibility and clout. U.S. Secretary of State, British Foreign Secretary, and French Foreign Minister were also at the event.
Meanwhile, the newly sworn-in General Buhari has promised in his inaugural speech that a leadership of accountability and responsibility is what he's going to give to Nigerians.
Speaking before a packed audience that graced his inauguration, newly sworn-in Nigerian President General Muhammadu Buhari told Nigerians to be optimistic as they are in a position to fix their own challenges.
At home, we face enormous challenges: insecurity, pervasive corruption, the hitherto unending and seemingly impossible fuel and power shortages are the immediate concerns. We are going to tackle them head on.
On the issue of corruption, General Muhammadu Buhari called on the country's judiciary to partner the government to effectively deal with the canker.
The law enforcing authorities will be charged to operate within the Constitution. We shall rebuild and reform the public service to become more effective and more serviceable. We shall charge them to apply themselves with integrity and stabilize the system.
General Buhari also promised Nigerians that the country's energy challenges will be tackled in the quickest, safest and effective way.
Continuous tinkering with the structures of power supply and distribution, and close to United States $20 billion expended since 1999 have only brought darkness, frustration, misery, and resignation among Nigerians. We will not allow this to go on. Careful studies are underway during this transition to identify the quickest, safest, and most effective way to bring light and relief to Nigerians.
He appealed to the country's various labor organizations to unite for growth and productivity in Nigeria.
I appeal to employers and workers alike to unite in raising productivity so that everybody will have the opportunity to share in increased prosperity.
On Boko Haram, the new president promised a change in strategy to effectively wipe out the group.
Boko Haram is a mindless, godless group who are as far away from Islam as one can think of. For now, the armed forces will be fully charged with prosecuting the fight against Boko Haram. We shall overhaul the rules of engagement to avoid human rights violations in operations. We shall improve operational and legal mechanisms so that disciplinary steps are taken against proven human rights violations by the armed forces.
So from the Nigerian capital of Abuja, let's head back home and enjoy the rest of the world as we mark International No Tobacco Day. And in Parliament today, the Member of Parliament for Ofensu North is asking for public institutions to create designated smoking places to allow for the law on ban on public smoking to be effective.
According to the World Health Organization, 10 out of 100 cigarettes and other tobacco products consumed worldwide are illegal, making illicit trade of tobacco products a major global concern. It is a global fact that the smoking or use of tobacco is injurious to one's health. However, this has not affected the use of the product nationally, forcing the country to promulgate laws prohibiting public smoking. On Friday, the Member of Parliament for Ofensu North delivered a statement on the floor asking for the country to do more to reduce the health risk posed to passive smokers.
On this occasion of World No Tobacco Day, I would like to urge all public officers, civil society groups, traditional authorities, members of parliament, and indeed the district assemblies to help create innovative strategies and programs that will promote awareness about the harmful effects of tobacco consumption and to prevent the tobacco industry from derailing the implementation efforts of the framework on Convention of Tobacco by the World Health Organization.
Contributing to the statement, the Member of Parliament for Wa West, Yile Chere, charged health workers to set the right example by avoiding smoking during the course of duty.
There are also health personnel who, whilst treating patients, sometimes you see them smoking. I also plead with them not to do so because it gives a bad example of a good doctor or a good nurse or a good pharmacist. I think that on this occasion, let's remind ourselves again and ensure that we keep the day holy.
Later, in an interview with Metro News, Augustine Collinson Tim questioned why for a long time public places have failed to provide designated smoking places to prevent open smoking.
As per the law, as per statute, you're supposed to have smoke at a designated area so that the consequences will not fall out to innocent people. And this is not what, as a country, we have not done much about it.
The legislator called for higher taxes and tighter regulations to reduce the use of tobacco by young people.
The local content bill has given Ghanaians the experience of a lifetime to partake in the building of equipment for the 10 project.
The 10 project, which is developing 3 offshore oil and gas fields to start production soon, derived its name from the names from 3 fields, Cheneboa, Inyira and Intuming 10, which lies around 60 kilometers off the coast of Ghana's western region. The project is a joint venture led by Tullow Oil PLC with 47.185% equity, Cosmos Energy with 17% equity, and Adako Petroleum Corporation with 15% equity, and Petro SA also with 3.815% equity. Senior representatives from the Petroleum Ministry, Petroleum Commission, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, the 10 project partners and contractors toured the various yards in the Sekondi Takoradi metropolis to ascertain first-hand information on progress of work on the project. The Tullow Oil Yard in the Sekondi Naval Base has about 198 Ghanaians working on different fields from welding to engineering. In an interview with the construction manager Daniel Weston, he disclosed they are working hard to meet their commitment on local content construction as well as fabrication capability.
We're working hard to meet our commitment on local content construction and improve the fabrication and construction capability in Ghana for the future. The Ghanaians are building this, on this site are building the suction piles for the 10 FPSO. What it means for the Ghanaians, we are adding to the skill base in Ghana, we are qualifying people to international standards, and we're building equipment that was previously built out of country to improve the capability and the skills of the Ghanaian workforce, which hopefully are transferable to other industries.
Some of the Ghanaian workers who spoke to Metro News noted they are indeed thankful for the local content bill, which has made it possible for them to be part of this historic experience.
I see it a big milestone in that the entire site here, virtually 97% are Ghanaians, with some key rules which over the years should have been expired, but Ghanaians are occupying. So it's a very good plus as a Ghanaian person on this project.
It is evident over here what we can see. These are 95%, or I will say 96% Ghanaians working on this project. The Ghanaian is capable of doing such things. We only have about 3% or 4% experts among us.
And local content that the government has implemented has helped us so much to get to know certain things we don't know previously. And actually we are happy that we are also part and parcel of this project as Ghanaians.
Deputy Minister for Petroleum Benjamin Dagadu expressed satisfaction with the level of skill and maturity exhibited by their local staff. He is hopeful with time they can solely handle full operations.
Ghanaian artisans, I love my heart for them. They are really doing well. And they should continue like this and just keep the militancy and labor down so that they can learn more and then contribute to the development of this country. The EDS in Takoradi here is trying to put that across. And if they come here and see the other colleagues doing such a wonderful job and being praised everywhere, then more youths will get into the business.
Currently, the TEM project is about 58% complete, and Tullow Oil Ghana is planning to get to first oil by mid-2016. General Manager of Tullow Oil Ghana Limited, Charles Dakun, reiterated that his company is in full support of the local content.
Even though we missed the opportunity to do it in the yard in Tema, we've done it here in Takoradi, and there are a number of other private sector entities that have been part of making this successful. Overall, currently, our project, the TEM project, is about 58% complete. Call it 60% complete. Is on schedule and is on budget. We're planning to be able to get to first oil mid-2016. That's roughly about a year from now. And there's no reason why we can't do it as of today. And for us also, we see ourselves as pioneers, blazing a trail for this oil and gas industry in Ghana to take off in full steam. And we're happy that others will come after us.
The FPSO, he said, is about 85% complete, and by December next year will set sail from Singapore to Ghana, and hopefully in February next year it will be on Ghana's waters.
An envoy of the French Embassy for Climate Change has warned of climate change conditions intensifying the next decade if pragmatic measures are not put in place in the interim to mitigate emissions of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere.
Climate change is a global phenomenon which emanates from the pollution of water, air, land, industrial and human activities. The effects of climate change include global warming, rising sea levels, and violent storms. Scientists have high confidence that global temperatures will continue to rise for decades due to the greenhouse gases produced by human activities. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the extent of climate change effects on individual regions will vary over time. In a bid to seek collective efforts to provide solutions to mitigating its effects, the Institute of Economic Affairs held a forum which drew people from various governmental agencies. Addressing participants, an envoy from the French Embassy for Climate Change, Ambassador Stéphane Gompetes, advocated the need for the world to join forces to deal with climate change.
If we continue to emit more and more greenhouse gas, we can spend billions of dollars on adaptation. In 30 years, we'll be faced with the same problem. We'll have to start all over again. On the other hand, if we say, all right, we will reduce emissions, but we don't care about the people who are already suffering from it. The social climate, the economic climate in those countries which are affected will become unbearable, and the plans for curbing emissions will fail.
A senior research fellow at the Institute of Economic Affairs, John Kwachi, said the devastating effects of climate change have contributed to the poor growth of African countries.
In Africa, climate change has potentially devastating effects and poses considerable constraints to growth and development prospects. There's ample evidence that climate change is already impacting negatively on key sectors in Africa, including agriculture, food security, water supply, healthcare, energy, and biodiversity.
Ghana would join the rest of the world come December 2015 in Paris to deliberate on issues relating to finding lasting solutions to climate change.
Meanwhile, the director of the Institute of Environment and Sanitation Studies of the University of Ghana has forewarned of dire consequences of climate change if future pragmatic measures are not taken to check the fast-changing dynamics of the environment.
The platform was the 4th National Colloquium on Forest Investment Opportunities and Climate Change, organized by the Forestry Commission. It was aimed primarily at taking into perspective coordinated efforts to reduce the growing effects of climate change through a strong campaign against some human activities which remain injurious to the nation's forest and wildlife resources. This includes the overdependence of firefuel from illegally sawn lumber that tend to reduce forest cover and cause desertification. In a keynote address, the director of the Institute of Environment and Sanitation Studies of the University of Ghana, Professor Chris Gordon, questioned the commitment of government to the fast-changing climatic conditions due to human activities.
If we do not plan now, we will have gone to a better place, we hope. But those young ones who are coming behind us, what legacy are we going to leave them? So we have to think about these groups, the vulnerable, the aged, like myself. We need to put in systems that will give some sort of social protection. If we don't, we are going to get up one day and find that we have a situation where we have climate refugees in our own country.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Samuel Afaridate, bemoaned the decline in forest resources due to what he described as recalcitrant negative human practices. He went on to catalogue major setbacks, militating against the sector's ability to improve its contribution to GDP in volume and quality of export performance.
We had competitive advantage some years ago. However, some countries that were under, for instance, the UN embargo, are now also pumping some wood products into the market, and obviously this has affected Ghana. This includes countries like Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Burma. And then also domestic market consumption has definitely increased with the economic boom in the last years regarding construction and some other investments in the country.
A climate change economist, Isaac Jemfi, called for improved focus on tree planting to attract investments, especially from carbon-absorptive technology companies.
We need to speed up measures to help clear the way so that when we are talking to farmers and others about tree planting, they will actually listen and do it.
It came to light that 70% of the nation's forest reserve is privately owned, and the country still has the potential to grow its reserves between 10 and 30 cubic meters per hectare per annum through proper management.
Now, the founding dean of the Law Faculty of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Philip Ekor-Bonzi-Simpson, has described the present salary structure of the public sector as confusing and prone to unjustified intra- and inter-sector variations. He wants government to rectify it immediately to forestall. He was speaking at the second session of the Mfantsipim Dwenswe lectures.
The annual Dwenswe lectures was instituted by the Mfantsipim Foundation in collaboration with Mfantsipim School. It provides a platform for Mfantsipim old boys to speak on topical national and global issues in line with values of the school. At the second session of the lectures held in Accra, founding dean of the University of Cape Coast Faculty of Law, Professor Philip Ekor-Bonzi-Simpson, stressed the need for government to remunerate workers according to the sectors they belong to and not for their qualifications.
If we do recognize that it is important for us to get a sound public sector, then it is also important for us to get a public sector with sound people properly remunerated. The present arrangement was not intended to have the following effect, but it has had the effect of still causing people to migrate to the private sector, to be lazy because of insufficient pay, and to look around within the public sector to see where they can relocate to, and to look over each other's shoulders to complain about what related professionals are receiving. If this is indeed the problem, we should try and solve it.
Chairman of the Cape Coast Council urged government to adequately reward public sector workers who discharge their duties excellently.
You choose, isn't it, to go to the private or to the public, or to be a teacher, a lawyer, whatever it is. And we engage and embark on strikes. Strikes, I believe, should be the last weapon anyone should use, and it should not be misused. I think in whichever way, in whichever discipline you find yourself, be it in the private or the public sector, you have to give your maximum to it.
The Dren Hwekan annual lectures are an integral part of the annual Mfantsipim Flag Month, observed as an extended part of the school's Founders' Day celebrations. Professor Bonzi Simpson was honored for his contribution to the Mfantsipim Foundation and the school.
Now, the former president, Jerry John Rawlings, has lauded current managers of the Achimota School for transforming the school into one of the best environments conducive for teaching and learning.
Very often during the weekends, I used to go to the Achimota Forest. And with all that's been happening since, then, and what I see as serious, we're seeing structures, huge edifices and whatnots, offices and whatnots creeping all over the country. Our trees being brutalized and hacked off left and right, and the level of corruption left and right. With so much, as stressed up as I was, I decided, let me just take a drive to Achimota School. And I hadn't been there for a long time, and I was avoiding the place, because I would be seeing a decline which might probably dispirit me even the more. Because of what I saw the very last time, which was quite some time ago. But I still went ahead. And geez, I couldn't believe what I saw. I was amazed. The structures. It was like Achimota had risen out of the ashes. The greenery. The gardens around the structures, the houses, etc. Gachis Beg, Livingston, etc., Slezzer Kingsley. Oh, the place sparked something. It gave me so much spiritual satisfaction that it just sparked some hope in me. And I thought, if Achimota can do it, Ghana can do it.
On the international front, a suicide bomber has blown himself up in the parking lot of a Shia mosque in Saudi Arabia's eastern city of Daman, killing 4 people. All right, so that's how we end this edition of the news. It came to you from our studios here at Labone. Thank you for watching and have a good night.